Hi, I'm Dr. Joe Vitale. At this point in time, I'm 70 years old, and I've been invited to deliver some life lessons that might be useful to you. I was invited to imagine I had a son or daughter, and I wanted to tell them some of the wisdom I've gained over the years. I don't have any kids, so I'm going to pretend you are my child, and I'm going to share with you 5 things and a bonus that can help you in your life. You may or may not know I was in the movie The Secret. If you haven't seen it, go see The Secret. It's everywhere. I've written 90 books, including The Attractor Factor and Hypnotic Writing and Life's Missing Instruction Manual and Zero Limits and Zero Limits Living and so many more. I'm a musician. I have 15 albums out. I have a band called The Band of Legends, Dr. Joe and the Band of Legends. I'm the host of a podcast that's on YouTube and a lot of other places. It's Zero Limits Living TV. Go to ZeroLimitsLivingTV.com. My main website is MrFire.com. All of that put aside, let's talk about these life lessons. And I really sat with this because I thought, what would I really say? What do I really want you to know? And this is important. This is crucial after 7 decades of experimenting and trial and error. And I was homeless at one point. I was in poverty for 10 years. Now I live the lifestyle of the rich and famous. How'd I get here? And so I have, again, 5 key points and a bonus for you. All right, so the very first one is keep your word. Keep your word. What that means is when you tell somebody you're going to do something, do it. And why this is important is that it builds self-respect and self-confidence. That's almost more important than what it does for the people you keep your word to. It builds relationships when you keep your word. People learn to trust you. But really at the core, you learn to trust yourself. So when you say you're going to do something, then by God, do it. And have the self-respect and the strength to know that you did do it. So the very first one is keep your word, which also means before you say something, be sure you're actually willing to do it. Don't commit unless you know you're going to fulfill. So keep your word. The second thing is do better than expected. Do better than expected. Most people want to slip and slide through life. They don't want to actually do the work. And if you want to stand out, if you want to have a life you're proud of, and a life where people notice you and will help you, then you have to do more than what's expected. When somebody hires you or somebody asks you to do something, yes, do it as they had requested, but do it better than they requested or do more than they requested. This philosophy goes back to Napoleon Hill with Think and Grow Rich and a whole lot of the self-improvement authors. They're all talking about keeping your word. They're all talking about doing better than expected. So keep it in mind, do better than expected. Go the extra mile. The third thing is build relationships. Everything you want is going to come through other people. So if you want to have an easier life, build relationships. That doesn't mean take advantage of people. That means help people. Keeping your word, doing more than what's expected, all of this will help build relationships. And I have found the most profound things happen when people like you and are willing to give you a leg up. I wrote one book called Unexpected Kindness, which is nothing but all the stories of people who helped me when I was broke and unknown and didn't show any signs of future success. They helped me anyway. We had a relationship, and that relationship was worth gold. Building relationships goes all the way back to Epicurus, who was talking about it thousands of years ago. For him, friendship was the Holy Grail. Friendship was heaven. So that's the third thing. Build relationships. The fourth thing is follow your passion. This has really been my secret to success. I've written lots of books, as I mentioned. One of them was on P.T. Barnum, the great circus promoter. He was far more than that, though. And I wrote a book about him called There's a Customer Born Every Minute. And in that book, I reveal everything I researched. And what I was researching was based on my passion. I was genuinely fascinated by the man. I was sincerely curious about his life. I was almost obsessed with my mission to find out about P.T. Barnum and turn it into the book, There's a Customer Born Every Minute. But this has been my secret to success throughout my life. I discovered an author who had been lost in time by the name of Bruce Barton. And I was broke at the time I discovered him. I was living in a dump. I had no real money coming in. But again, I followed my passion. I wanted to know about him. And despite all the struggles and all the things I had to go through to learn about Bruce Barton, I ended up writing a book called The 7 Lost Secrets of Success, which has been one of the most praised books I've ever written. And that all came from my passion. I still follow my passion today. So I think this is a key to success. Follow your passion. If you don't know what a passion is, what are you curious about? What are you fascinated with? What really excites you? What stirs your heart or makes your blood pump a little bit faster? What makes you more excited? What do you want to know more about simply because you want to know more about it? This is all in the direction of your mission, your passion, your calling, your life work. Find what that is and follow it. And it could change, like it's changed for me throughout my life with different books, with music, with me being in movies, having my own talk show. It's there as a general category of inspiring people. I think that's my calling, to inspire people. But how that takes form is always different. And when you unpack it, what you find out is I'm simply following my passion. So follow your passion. The fifth thing is something I learned that is more powerful than anything you could imagine. When you go through life, you're going to say, oh, if I only had more breaks, or if I only had more money, or if I only had this opportunity. You're going to be whining about all kinds of things you think you need. You know, those aren't true. There's one thing you can do, and it's the one thing I've done, that is better than luck, better than money, better than opportunity, better than good fortune, better than lucky breaks, better than just about anything you can name. And what's that one thing? Persistence. Getting up every day and moving in the direction of your dream, your passion, your goal, your work. That will win out. When I was homeless, I was writing. When I was broke in poverty, I was writing. When I took jobs I hated, I found time before work, during lunch, after work, to be writing. I was writing because I wanted to be an author. And what happened, and I didn't know this would happen, is that my persistence kind of made a dent in the universe. And it made the world notice me. And by continuing with that persistence, following my dream, doing what I knew to do, keeping my word, taking action, all of this I was doing led to success. My first book was in 1984. It kind of came and went, and it was a bit of a dud, but I was still persistent. My next book was 10 years later, and it did a little better. And then I started cranking out books until now, at this point in time, I've written more books than I thought I would ever write in my life, and I'm not done. I've got a new book coming out called Zero Limits Living, and I got ideas for other ones. Persistence wins the race. And then I said I would give you a bonus tip. And this bonus tip, in many ways, is the only tip you really need. And I'm saying that to really make you sit up and take notice. The bonus tip is read. Read. All the wisdom of the universe is available to you if you will only read. I have been reading since I was a little kid. You can see some books behind me, but I got books all around me. I love books. I still read books. I love reading biographies because they show me that all the great successes in the world struggled. And you can learn from their mistakes. In fact, one of the best reasons to read any books is that you can save your own blood, sweat, and tears by learning what other people did and didn't work or did work, and saving yourself the trouble of failing. So you don't have to learn the lesson. Learn it from the other people. And there's lots of books on self-help and motivation. There's books like I mentioned, Think and Grow Rich, which has helped more people become millionaires than just about any other book that's ever been written. And there's lots of other books like A Fortune to Share by Vash Young that a lot of people never heard of, worth reading. And there's books that influenced me when I was a kid and still influences me when I reread it or think about it. And that was The Magic of Believing by Claude Bristol. But find the books that excite you. Go to the library, go to wherever your favorite place is, bookstores, Amazon, whatever, and search. Find books that inspire you, that give you that little shot in the arm to keep going. I read every day. I've been reading every day ever since I learned how to read. And before I learned how to read, my mother read to me. So find a way to read the wisdom of the world, anything I've ever wanted to learn. When I got into strongman training and I learned how to bend horseshoes and nails and bolts and drive a nail through a board with my hand, I learned from books. I then went and got a coach, I went and got a mentor, and I got some personal training. And then, of course, I bent horseshoes, I bent nails, I drove nails through boards, and I wrote a book about that called Anything is Possible. Point being, I learned from books. When I wanted to learn how to be a musician and I wanted to write songs, I went first to books. When I wanted to be an author and I began in the early days, I'd walk to the public library in Niles, Ohio, in storms, in the winter, and I would study books on writing and I would practice all of it. So read. I can go on with probably a few nuances, but out of my career at this point, in my years of living at this point, I would say those are the things that are the most important. And the first is keep your word. The second is do more than what you're asked for. The third is build relationships. The fourth is follow your passion. And the fifth bonus is read. It might also be worthwhile to give you one more bonus. Keep on the sunny side. Expect success. As one of my sayings behind me states, expect miracles. Have a good life. Godspeed.